this process takes time. So being responsive as a buyer, if you're buying a house, be responsive to your real estate professional, be responsive to your lender. Don't drag your feet. Don't procrastinate because it may put your closing date in jeopardy.
Very true.
You want to be on top of it and you want to close on time.
What Mark and I are really saying is when option period finishes, that does not mean the gears to get to keys have stopped rolling and connecting.
No pressure.
Howdy, it's Pete.
And I'm Mark, and we're the Real Estate Dream Team.
Oh my gosh, Mark, why the heck should they listen to yet another real estate podcast? Well, I will share my why, and that is we'd love to tell you how to get those keys the smart way.
And help you crank those gears that turn your dreams into homes.
There you go. Let's roll,
Let's
baby.
roll, baby.
Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to talk about something. It's for you in Texas. That's called the option period. What is the option period? You may have heard that term thrown around, but don't understand what it is. It really is your due diligence period, and you negotiate that with the seller. You negotiate a certain time frame that allows you to inspect the house to really make sure that this is the house that you want to buy. But there are lots of ins and outs of that option period. And also what happens after the option period that's critical, right? So let's talk about the option period. What does it mean in the first place? Can the seller do something during the option period that would hurt me? Or, what is all that? Tell us more about the option period.
Tell us more.
I know there's more because I know the process, but
Fair enough. So option period is a time of deep digging discovery of this home that has snatched your heart. Do all the systems, are they functioning as designed? Are they functioning efficiently, especially if you're in Texas and you're thinking about, well, July is coming, summer is coming, 100-degree weather is coming. Is that HVAC system going to handle it? Is it functioning at optimal? And during that option period, we're negotiating with the sellers as far as, hey, we found this deficiency. Were you aware that your HVAC system, for example, is leaking freon?
So what you're saying is start the option period. The minute you go under contract, right? Everybody is signed on the dotted line. Then the house is technically under contract, which starts that clock for the option period. Let's say you had an agent that did a really great job and already has an inspector for the very next day lined up. That inspector finds a bunch of problems. You have that option period to renegotiate that contract. So a mistake I see a lot of times or sometimes is that buyers take their time in the option period. They kind of, procrastinate about the inspection.
No, pedal to the metal.
No, let's get the
You got to go.
because
Yes.
renegotiate things with the seller.
Yes.
Because the seller has the option to say no to everything.
Correct.
Right.
Take it as is, where is.
Right.
Take it or leave it. And so it's a whole nother negotiation. You negotiate on the front end based on what you can see of the property as a buyer. Then once you're under contract, you negotiate again based on the discovery during that option due diligence time.
You need to ask the seller for based on the repairs that we found.
Talk to experts in that field.
That tells me it takes time
Trades.
to get those right.
Yes.
So the option period is critical to be on top of it, moving quickly, right?
So you do feel like you're speeding down a 55-mile-an-hour highway at 100 miles an hour. It's an intense time. How long is that option period? It is a pre-negotiated period, anywhere from 5 to 10. I've seen as much as 14 days, depending on the type of property, location. There's many factors involved. It is another blank in the 1 to 4 family Texas contract that you do talk about and discuss. And you do pay for as well as a buyer. It is a privilege. The privilege to opt out of the contract is something that you do pay for as a buyer.
Just to be clear on that point, the seller cannot cancel the contract at that point.
Correct.
You're the only one that can. But you don't even have to give them a reason why you want to cancel the contract. You could just decide.
The sky is blue.
This happened to several, tons of deals that I had going where the buyer, then the parents came down from Oklahoma City and saw the house and said, hell no, you're not buying this house. The inspection was done. Everything was renegotiated. They were happy to buy the house. And the parents come along and say, why are you paying so much money for a house? Not understanding the Dallas market. And so that ended up canceling the deal. And they didn't even have to give the seller a reason. The seller was very upset because everything was done. They had renegotiated. So their thought, so it's wasn't very nice, but
Mhm.
that is your option during the option period.
Correct. But we also wanted to talk about today. So, okay, so we go through these inspections, we've done this second negotiation, all these things. So, what happens after the option period? Because I'm sure you can YouTube, Google, whatever, and find lots of people and opinion and all in Texas of what to do during that option period. But not much that tells you what to do after the option period is over. Well, first off, take a deep breath and have a kumbaya moment. Mark and I would suggest, and as woo, got it done. But next on the list of to dos towards, other gears that need to get into motion in order to get those keys is double check with your lender to order the appraisal. Because now, once the option period is over, you have now moved into the next phase, which is the finance due diligence period, if you will. And that is where the property, the home, your future home, needs to garner the trust and goodwill of your selected lender that yes, it is worth this amount of money that you are under contract for. And that's called an appraisal. But also during that time, you want to finalize part of that financial due diligence process that happens after option period. You want to finalize your insurance coverage because your insurance is part of your mortgage payment. Mortgage, as a reminder, is principal, interest, taxes, property taxes, and insurance. So you actually can control what that final mortgage payment looks like based on the insurance coverage that you select. And there is basically an A, B, and C type coverage. Most consumers do elect to go with a B level coverage because that does most things, not all things. Think of a B level coverage like a Chevrolet kind of deal, Chevrolet Cadillac ish, to put it in gear terms, Mark car guy terms. So and that means it's going to cover mostly everything. It's not going to cover all the things, just like you, consumer buyer insurance coverage is the best coverage, I think, is curated. And the best way to get a curated coverage for you, as in how you live, as well as the type of home. A pier and beam home needs a different type of coverage than a slab home. I mean, plumbing. There we go. That's a whole nother 4-letter word we can talk about later, for example. But that's going on post option period. The other thing that is going on, ideally, is you're continuing to save all your favorite Instagram and Pinterest pages of all the things you're going to do with the house once you get those keys. But safety tip, you are not acting on any of those dreams. Do not buy a washer and dryer. Do not buy that super sleek credenza. Do not buy that super cool piece of art that you've got your eye on that your friend 2 doors down is painting, blah, blah, blah. Do not spend money, right, lender, sir?
Open, more credit cards or buy a car. The reason you don't want to spend money is because your down payment, your closing costs, they need to come out of the bank account. And if your bank account is drained, where's the money going to come from? If you have enough cash, you can buy things with cash. I just wouldn't add to your credit balances by purchasing things. So if you're buying things with cash and you have plenty of cash for closing costs and down payment, you're good. Buy it, but buy it with cash, not on your credit cards or by opening new store credit cards or buying another car because you just fell on it. So
fair enough. But along the lines of paying cash, like don't be pulling out $2,000 or $3,000 to go do whatever. Like cash, be reasonable.
yeah,
Be reasonable. Remember, the lender who is taking the risk on you is verifying during that post option period that you are, in fact, worth the risk because a lender is a business, not a charity. And they do want to have certainty to make sure that you are good for the cash that they are about to outlay on your behalf. Fun fact, I mean, the more certain they are that you're good for it, the better your interest rate is. So just be smart, be mindful.
100%. 100%. And the financing due diligence actually starts the day you go. So even during your option period, if you work with a lender that's on top of it, they will be in touch with you constantly during that time frame. So it's like Bess said, if you're going 100 miles an hour that first week, 10 days of going under contract, you're going to be, like she said, it's going to be kind of a full-time job to get through that period. So prepare yourself. But the option period is really critical. And what happens after the option period sets you up for closing. So, utilities, be prepared to change utilities, be know what you're doing next steps. And Bess has a great outline of all that, what all needs to happen post option period. So there's it's a complex process to get to closing, and it involves a lot of people.
And a lot of gears. But each gear turns on itself, and when it's well oiled with a good team, it does manifest as keys at the end of the process.
And understand that there's upwards of 20 people involved in this transaction, most of which you will never talk to and never meet. So this process takes time. So being responsive as a buyer, if you're buying a house, be responsive to your real estate professional, be responsive to your lender. Don't drag your feet. Don't procrastinate, because it may put your closing date in jeopardy, which gives the seller an out. At that point, the seller can say, "You didn't meet the closing date. Guess what? I have a better offer. I'm going to take the backup offer."
Very true.
And so you want to be on top of it. And you want to close on time.
So I guess what Mark and I are really saying is when option period finishes, that does not mean the gears to get to keys have stopped rolling and connecting. The cogs are continuing to go. Another cog that does come into play is HOA performance during the finance period. If your property as a seller is involved in an HOA, if the property that you're buying, buyer, is involved in an HOA, you do have documents that must be presented to the lender. Again, the lender is looking for certainty, and certainty not only in you as a buyer, but also certainty in the home that you have selected for them to write a check on. And, is the HOA financially stable? Is the grounds that the HOA is responsible for in good shape? If it's a condo, has the roof that was recently contracted to be replaced, has it been in fact installed with the type of roof that was under contract for, or was there a bait and switch? Sadly, this happens because, again, there's humans involved. There are humans involved, and sometimes some humans forget that the best society is one where everyone does their best for each other.
So to wrap up, the option period is there to give you the time to make sure this is the house you want to buy on different levels, meaning inspection wise, meaning that your heart's in it, you still love the house. And after that, during that time and after that, lots of gears are moving to get you to the closing table. And lots of those gears depend on your action. And so be listening to the professionals in your life, your team that is trying to guide you to closing. So listen to them, follow the instructions, and you'll be set up for success.
But in closing, I would encourage you, if you have just finished your option period and you're wondering what's next, number one, take a deep breath. Woo, you made it. Number two, don't stop pedaling forward. It's just now you're pedaling forward at a slower rate, but forward progress is still going. And please respond when you are prompted to fulfill lender requirements. Please put a break on spending. Continue to do that. You're close. You're that many more steps closer to getting those keys. But until you get those keys, this is still a no spend zone. It's no spend time of your life. And it's a short period for a big reward, right?
Yes. Come join us next time for Keys and Gears. Like, subscribe. If you have questions, please email us. We love answering those questions.